gonna give it a little bit because I want to make sure that I set the whatchamajig correctly.
All right.
Would you be so kind as to bring up the stream on your thingy?
Help if I actually spelled it right.
Our Twitch channel keeps disappearing. What the fuck?
Right. Let's see.
Oh, brown screen. That's a one brown screen.
We're good.
Let's do this shit.
Looks wonderful.
The hardest part of all that is, of course, not laughing like a dumbass
Yes.
when I hear that. I know I've heard that before, but that shit is good. That shit is good. Hey!
Hello.
Who are those weirdos?
Well, there are a couple of weirdos. I'll tell you that.
Excellent. Oh man. Well, this is the first thingy, isn't it?
Yep. This
the
is
first one,
the
man.
first one.
Hopefully of many.
I hope so. Okay, welcome to Super Chat 64, not Game Chat, as I always try to put into Gmail and everything to log in. Yeah, hopefully this is a series of mini here. So,
Yes!
I'm Justin. This is Alex, the bearded hobbit himself.
Part of the reason we keep joking about the name is that we agonized over what to name this bitch for, I don't know, 2 weeks straight?
Roughly 2 weeks. Hundreds of suggestions. We literally could not agree upon... We agreed upon something, and then we didn't agree upon something, and... Then it was like more suggestions.
Yeah,
we weren't sure
yeah.
exactly what we were doing.
It was excessive. But hopefully this is what we're dealing with, what we're sticking with rather.
Right.
The idea behind the show is that it's a talk show about video games in general, not really relating to any specific types of topics necessarily, but just general, I don't want to say bullshitting, because we do have something of a kind of, not exactly a schedule, but like a list of topics that we'll go through.
We do have a list of topics, yeah. More than probably will fit, obviously,
Yeah.
so we'll leave a bunch of leftover, and
Yes.
definitely open to any suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone wants to name a topic that we can go over,
Yeah.
totally up for that.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this on Twitch, so that,
Exactly.
ideally we would eventually start to get followers and folks who would be, so inclined to contribute to the conversation and suggest other stuff, because our list is finite, so
Right.
ideas are always welcome.
Currently we plan on streaming about every 2 weeks, roughly, when we have time. Whenever our schedule meets up, that's typically what we want to do is about every 2 weeks. It'll probably end up being more than that, and I also plan on doing just some small streams here and there. As far as like playing games or anything, I'll just stream to stream to Twitch. A man and I recently played PT, which is by far
I saw your post
one of the
about
scariest
PT.
games I've ever played, and it was only an hour. I mean, it was a playable teaser, is what PT means, which is I did not know. I didn't know anything going into it, other than it had something to do with Silent Hill.
Yeah.
So
Hideo Kojima, of course,
yes,
the mad scientist that he is.
Guillermo del Toro, is that how you say his name? I love Pan's Labyrinth. So
yeah, nice.
I know he made what was that recent movie with like the mechs?
It's Pacific Rim.
Pacific
Yes.
Rim.
Yes.
That's it. So yeah, I was actually kind of excited for him to make that.
Oh man, that's exciting.
But yeah, scariest game ever. But we actually streamed that, and I streamed that to my old channel. So I'll probably end up just flopping that over to be like a starting video on the YouTube channel. But anything that we record will be just forwarded to the YouTube channel, so it can be watched at a later date if no one can catch it. So
yeah, and your Twitch channel, your personal one, is that Dr. Moses?
That is Dr. Moses, yeah. But I'll probably just end up using this one exclusively for now. So
yeah, no, that totally works. I have a personal one as well that I use on a semi-frequent basis. cases. So I always have the best intentions of using it more, but excuses, grown up stuff. Blah, blah, blah. It's just super Hobbit, nothing fancy there, and I'm between trying to find trying to do some personal life stuff. You know how that goes. It's been taking up a lot of my time lately, but hopefully I do intend to get back to that pretty soon. But in any case, on with the show. We have like Justin had mentioned, a nice little variety of potential topics.
All right, give me a number. Give me a number between 1
Cover my eyes.
1 and 14.
1 and 14. Let's go with 8.
8. All right. We are going to go with 8, which is, we'll go with, okay. Titles and developers that no matter how terrible they may be, you will always purchase their game.
Oh, man. Yeah, this is where we start confessing our deepest, darkest gaming secrets. That's a tough one. I mean, I am a very obnoxious fanboy for a lot of series, and I like to think that they're consistently good. Like Justin knows, I'm a disgusting Nintendo fan, and Mario games will always be my shtick.
How many Mario games do they put out a year? Not exclusive to just Mario. But obviously like Mario Party, Mario Kart.
Yeah, all the different variants.
Mario Watch.
Probably, that's a valid question, and not just of course consoles, but handhelds as well.
Yeah.
They've announced that they'll be doing some sort of mobile phone gaming as well, so that number will probably increase as time goes on. But if I had to guess, I would say at least a handful every year between the Wii U and the 3DS, and that's not even counting ports that like for the Virtual Console. It's pretty impressive. But I mean, the reason it's like, well, I don't know if that quite counts is because they tend to be pretty damn good.
Yeah,
they tend to
do.
engineer the shit out of those games.
I will say that Nintendo, with all the new stuff they have coming out for Wii U, like Xenoblade,
oh my god, yes,
every other awesome JRPG that isn't coming to PlayStation,
it is kind of the place
has me kind of intrigued, and I'm like, man, I wish I would have bought a Wii U now. Like, they have so many games like me and Amanda could play, you know, like Mario Kart.
Yes.
Obviously, Mario Kart 8 is actually freaking awesome.
So good.
And then Mario Party, that was released not too long ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, just a few weeks back.
Yeah. I watched some gameplay on that, and that looks absolutely awesome.
It looks bonkers, especially with a full room of people, which is how it's meant to be played.
And then, obviously, Super Smash Brothers always will intrigue everyone. So.
Oh, yes, as it should.
I did hear something. How many people can hook up to Super Smash Brothers now?
8.
8 people.
8 people.
8 people with one console, right? With one Wii U?
It is redunkadunk. I've done it a couple of times in the full roster of 8 people, and it just devolves into pure chaos, which is the essence of what Smash Brothers is all about, so there you go. But, yeah, there are certain stages that you can't play on because they're too small. The game won't let you play with that many people. So it does try to spread things out as far as trying to accommodate for there being an 8-person clusterfuck happening on the screen. But for the most part, it's very enjoyable and very hectic, and it's a good... I mean, we've all been in those situations where you have 5 people or 6 people, and oh shit, well now we have to do that kind of awkward onesie-twosie take turns thing.
So I'm going to go ahead and let so-and-so play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
Winner has to rotate out. But like I said, I'm not sure. I have a hard time thinking of series that I will consistently fanboy that aren't worthy of my fanboyisms. I mean, Justin also probably knows that I'm a disgusting fan of Bomberman, but my love of Bomberman...
When was the last Bomberman?
That exactly, because they haven't really done much with it. They've done ports of the classic arcade mode, which is fun, don't get me wrong, but I kind of miss those adventure games. So if it used to be Hudson, but now Konami, since they own the rights to it. If Konami were to put out a Bomberman adventure-style game, man, I would buy that shit up faster than I could blink, but I doubt it'll happen. If it does happen, oh yeah, I would shamelessly buy that shit, no matter how bad it was. So let's call that my contribution.
All right.
How about yourself?
So Nintendo and Bomberman.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hands down, the game, anything obviously that I will buy, and you miss this, is anything from Valve.
Valve? I was thinking. I was like, he's gonna say Valve, and I'm gonna be like, damn it, why didn't I think of that?
Absolutely anything from Valve.
Yep.
Hands down, I own every single game that Valve has ever made. Like day one, I bought it. Except for Left 4 Dead 2. I didn't buy Left 4 Dead 2 right off the bat. But so I do own Left 4 Dead 2 now.
You do.
Another company near and dear to my heart was Squaresoft, now Square Enix.
Yeah.
I eat every game that they create, no matter how terrible. I specifically love Final Fantasy so much. I love Final Fantasy. Oh man, what is the game? Just Cause.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Like,
I love that.
So Square Enix, they have my heart as
Yes.
far as like JRPGs, and up and coming probably Atlas, because after playing the Persona series, man, they make some really good stuff. And Dave Wellman's actually been trying to get me to play.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
To play Persona 3, so I'll probably have to play that soon.
I didn't realize he was into Persona games, but yeah, that's fantastic.
Whenever I worked with Dave, he about every other day would ask me to play Persona 3. Like, he'd be like, "You really need to play Persona 3. Like, you need to play this game right now."
I can't argue, honestly. Oh man, yeah, I know that. I know that. Of course, there's lots of hype for Final Fantasy 15, right?
15,
15
yeah.
hype,
The playable demo came out not too long ago.
Yeah.
If you bought Type 0, you were able to get a demo. It's like an hour-long demo, I think, or something like that. I'm not sure how long it is, but it looks awesome. I watched a gameplay of it, obviously, so I was really intrigued. The combat looks similar to. I mean, it has a lot of elements from the previous couple of Final Fantasies, which is like the battle style, active battle. But they also have. It really reminded me a lot of Kingdom Hearts. Like, the combat reminded me a lot of it because there's a lot of dodging mechanics. The main character can like grapple to a nearby tower and get out of combat. Like,
nice.
It was pretty crazy. It looks really entertaining though, and that seems like the general consensus is that it's going to be hopefully a good game.
Yeah.
And hopefully not another Lightning Returns.
So I've heard. I'll admit, I actually I haven't touched Final Fantasy series in a number of years, but I've heard a lot of disparaging things about Lightning Returns and just mixed things
in
about,
general for 13.
Yeah, just mixed things about 13 in general. I've heard a lot of good things about 14 from those who enjoy MMOs.
Yes, 14 actually. I think that was the one that they brought out, but then they just ended up completely redoing.
Yes.
Like they tore it all apart and they redid it, and it seems. What is that? That's a Realm Reborn? Is that what that one is?
That's the one,
yeah, that I've heard really good things about it. I was actually going through an MMO phase, and I was really wanting an MMO. And like,
you don't say.
Everybody that knows me was like, I was trying everything that came out. I tried, Elder Scrolls with the beta. Like, I tried WildStar beta. Like, and nothing was grasping my attention. Obviously, WoW has me by the balls. It was just like, come on, come back. I want you to come back to me. And I was desperately searching for a new game. But, that one was really intriguing me, and I was so close to buying it on Steam. I was like an inch away, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go back to play WoW. And then I played WoW for like 8 months or something like that. Like, my stint just ended not too long ago.
Man.
Like, I'm sure I'll pick it back up here in like 3 months. It's
the siren call can only...
That's a never-ending thing.
You can only resist the urge for so long. But yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of people that have felt a little disenchanted with some of the more recent games, and I heard mixed things about 13. I heard some good, some bad, and lots of not so good things about Lightning Returns. But here's to hoping. I know that actually I don't know about the one that just came out, the one that included the demo of 15.
Yeah, I actually don't know anything about Type 0, which makes me a terrible Final Fantasy fanboy, but I really don't know anything about Type 0. I haven't read anything about it. I actually didn't even know the game was coming out. I guess I was just too enticed with other games,
Oh, okay.
Like when you get sucked into the the World of Warcraft hole, everything kind of darkness enshrouds you, and there's no out. And then all of a sudden, like a little speck of light, breaks open, and you're like. And then you have to, climb through Goatsy through the hole, and then you make it out.
I've never heard Goatsy and like being used as a verb before. I wish I had not heard it being used as a verb before, but you can't unhear it. Oh man. Well, no, that's a good way to put it. And yeah, I mean, like of course Valve, everything they touch turns to gold. Assuming that it eventually comes out. But Valve time is of course very real, but no, I think that's a fair juxtaposition between a series that, or at least a company that consistently puts out good stuff, and a company that has had a bit of a mixed record, but hopefully they're on the up and up.
Hopefully they're on the up, because, man, they really need to dig themselves out of the hole they made with 13. Now, Final Fantasy 12 was such a good game combat-wise, and 13 kind of followed with really good combat, with active combat.
So I've heard,
they both had shitty stories, 12 had an alright story.
Yeah.
and halfway through, it's like I'm in a different game. Like I don't understand.
Yeah.
And then 13 was just a lot of long hallways and a lot of what happened kind of deal. So
yeah. Always
reminds me of Destiny, which I just completed, and
really?
oh my god, yeah, that story made no sense.
So I've heard, yeah.
So,
oh man, that was pretty good. You know, we turned through that topic pretty well. One of my biggest fears in doing all this was like, man, I hope we don't just like
keep rambling.
Yeah, exactly, for like an hour, because no one wants to watch that shit.
Absolutely.
But well, that was pretty good. Let's pick it up.
I wanted to know what is going on with Extra Life and what is up with you as far as Extra Life.
Yes, I should have mentioned this earlier, because as of just a few weeks, well, I knew about it a few weeks ago, but really, I guess it was official less than a week ago. I am the president of the St. Louis Guild for Extra Life, and for those who don't know, I guess just a general overview for what Extra Life is and what they're all about. They are an annual fundraising event that looks to raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals, which is a network, as the name implies. It's a network of hospitals around the country that looks to help children in need, in a lot of cases, like from a financial perspective, helping them pay their bills and all that other fun stuff. And Extra Life was started in 2008 as a way to kind of get gamers in on the fundraising action. Specifically, it kind of works similar, but in a much less healthy way, of a marathon. People who run marathons, they'll have friends and family pledge to donate so many dollars per mile they run, that kind of thing. But in this case, it is a 24-hour gaming marathon. You get friends and family to pledge dollars for how many hours you want to run, or run. That's cute. Or play, rather, how many hours you want to play video games.
I mean, you could get a treadmill.
I mean, yeah, treadmill.
And run on it the entire time. If you, I mean, you will die.
I was gonna say, I mean, if 24 hours of running, I'm sure someone out there has lived to tell the tale, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, with Extra Life, the idea is that you would get friends and family or strangers on the internet if you're popular enough, or Dexter the dog. This is where I buy an apartment right now, so my dog Dexter likes to bark at things sometimes. But or alternatively, you could do like just a flat fee, just toss them $10, and whatever donations they receive go towards their hospital of choice. And now I know that Justin, you've been active with Extra Life since what, 2010?
I think 2010 was the first one we did. I had been here. I had heard about it the previous year, so 2009 I had heard about it. We didn't actually do an Extra Life event 2009, but in 2010 I was like, man, I really want to kind of try and do this. I want to try and do this event. No matter if you make money or not, it's still fun.
Exactly.
It's still fun to just you can stream whatever you're playing. I think. Oddly, I streamed WoW, of course. So me and my friend Matt were in my basement streaming WoW.
Oh.
And no, it was still fun. It was still great. And then the next year is whenever I had everybody, come together and we played in my garage.
For 24 goddamn hours.
In my garage for 24 hours. It became frigid. Near the end, so we actually encapsulated ourselves in this outdoor garage. It was like a shed.
Oh man!
My friend Brad drank a whole bottle of Dayquil because he had strep throat.
You was fighting something. Oh my god!
That was actually I think that is one of the only. I lasted 2 24-hour sessions. The last one that we did this last year. I was so close to making it, and it was like 5 a.m, and I was like, I absolutely have no cognitive ability to do anything anymore. I'm losing my grip on reality. I need to go to bed.
That's a good sign.
But yeah, Extra Life is very fun. No matter, I mean, you can obviously, search for donations and stuff, which is the typical thing to do, but just getting together with people is the most enjoyable part of it.
It is. It's very fun. And yeah, like Justin mentioned, he's been going at it since 2010. My first one was 2011. In fact, that was like the first time I'd seen Justin in like 10 years or so. It had been a long time.
Yeah.
More than that. Like, damn.
The last time I saw you was we were in, I want to say, because we were in class together in 6th grade.
Yeah. Well, probably middle school, right?
It was middle school.
Yeah.
And it had to be 7th or 8th grade that I was in. And we stayed at your house.
Yeah, when I lived in Highland.
When you lived in Highland, and we used pillows to sled down the stairs.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was the best time
because that's as a grown ass man, that sounds like a fucking awesome thing to do. So it makes me regret that this is a one floor apartment.
It absolutely was one of the best things.
So yeah, like when we did the Extra Life thing, I know that we had connected on Facebook and whatnot, but that was the first time I'd seen Justin in a long time.
Yeah.
I got to meet this whole group of friends that I know
I just pulled together randomly. I was like, awesome. I'll bring everybody in. Let's do it. And since then, we've literally kept the same people for every LAN that we do, which is I would say like 5 times a year, roughly.
Roughly, yeah. Once every couple of months, we'll do a LAN party that's not related at all to Extra Life or raising money. We just wanted to play some fucking games. That's what we do. But the Extra Life thing is an annual thing. It typically happens either at the end of October or the beginning of November. In the past, we've put our funds towards St. Louis Children's Hospital, and for those who haven't heard or anything, last year Extra Life, the organization, had rolled out this guild program that was more city specific. It was all about raising, of course, raising awareness and whatnot, but more than anything, improving recruitment efforts in specific cities. So of course, it started with the large cities, the New Yorks and the Chicagos of the country, and wanted to start modest and see how it went, and they kind of did some studies to see where the successful clubs were and whatnot, and they found that the clubs were more likely to be successful if the foundation of members were people that were considered to be relatively active, people who have participated for a couple years, who have raised so many dollars over the years, just people who are considered to be active within the community, or at least within the local community. So this year, St. Louis had has this guild for the first time. We had the first membership meeting in February, and since it was the first one, it was just a matter of meeting each other. One of the, I can't remember the exact position, but one of the people from Extra Life flew from I think from Utah. I think she was in, I want to say Salt Lake City or so. And boy, were her arms tired. And yeah, I have to. I literally can't help it. It's a condition. I need help. But so she flew all the way out here and gave a presentation, and there were probably 20 or so of us. Oh, text massage. For those who don't know, this is the Bomberman 64 level completion because I'm a fucking fanboy. But so she flew all the way from Salt Lake City and gave a presentation. There were probably about 20 or so of us. And at the end, it was like, okay, well, this is a new club. We need to establish officers. So write your name on a piece of paper if you're interested in one of these 3 roles. And I was like, yeah, why the hell not? I'll put my name in for president, not really expecting anything from it. And yeah, I guess about a month later, I got an email saying, hey, you're president, buddy. I was like, oh, well, I have no idea what the selection process was like. For all I knew, I was the only sucker, and they were like, yeah, we got him. But we do have a secretary and a vice president as well. We'll be meeting as officers for the first time tomorrow evening, and then from there, we'll do our first, actual membership meeting. So that's something that I'm extremely excited about. Maybe even a little bit terrified, because we're going to be busy, especially as it gets closer to November. But the recruitment efforts is a year-round type of thing. So
what is the actual aim of this? What is the aim of this whole being a president and everything? What is what are you aiming towards doing? Just more or less getting more people active as far as Extra Life goes?
For the most part, yeah. Okay. A lot of it is recruiting people to say, yes, I will, or maybe even if we have the forms for it, have them do it right there. But at least say that they will. They'll register online, they'll get a group together, or even do solo and try to raise money, just basically to register for an account and participate in this year's event. There were some metrics where they found that a certain percentage of people who sign up will raise some amount of money. They found that the average amount that they raise, and basically they kind of broke it down to so many recruiters, or so many people recruited rather, equals roughly so many dollars for the for the Children's Miracle Network Hospital. So a lot of it is trying to up our game as far as getting more people to participate, make sure that people who participated last year come back and participate again, trying to take feedback on how we can improve the program, and trying to get a little bit more active with local events. One of the biggest things we're looking to do is to start rather small with some of the local conventions. Mm-hmm. For those in the St. Louis area, Anime St. Louis is coming up in, I want to say, 2.5 weeks.
Really?
1.5 weeks. It's coming up pretty quick, and we have a booth set up there. I know that I'll be there probably all day Saturday, as well as some of the other folks, and hopefully some of the other officers as well. So we'll make sure to have a hopefully pretty populated booth there to answer questions and, more importantly, drive our recruitment efforts. But other conventions like that, of course, there's Wizard World St. Louis, there's Archon, there's Natsucon coming up in the summer.
Where do you find all these?
All these conventions?
All these
crazy conventions?
Because the funny thing is like, I'm like, man, I would really like to go to some conventions that come to St. Louis, but I can never... I don't know where to look up where
That's
the conventions
a fair point. Yeah, there's really not a central...
Because you're like, in 2 weeks, there's this, what's coming up in 2 weeks?
It's called Anime St. Louis.
Anime St. Louis.
And as the name would imply, it's definitely centered around anime, but it's not limited to only anime. I enjoy anime, but I'm not a huge fan. It's not that I'm not a fan of it, it's just that you only have so many hours in the day for your hobbies, and I put most of mine into video games.
Exactly.
And internet nonsense. So, so I just don't really have many chances to watch anime, but when I watch it, it's awesome. But it's also geared around video games and comic books and movies and pop culture and just general stuff.
Typically, the anime that I end up watching is something centered around what I've already played.
Yeah.
I know, like Persona has their own anime.
Oh yeah.
And that's based absolutely on their game. Like just like you're playing the game. Like that's literally what it is. Nice. But like Halo has like their own animes and stuff like that. So.
Really, I didn't know that. That's interesting. But so yeah, that's a fair point. There really isn't that I know of at least a central convention gathering space online or otherwise to talk about those kinds of things. The reason I know about a bunch of them is that I have a lot of friends that go to them, and I just kind of hear by word of mouth more than that. And for most of the ones that I mentioned, they're ones that I've been to in the past, so I follow the Twitter, follow the Facebook things, and just kind of keep up with things as they come. But yeah, St. Louis has a fair number of them year round. Most of them are fairly small. I would say Anime St. Louis, for its class of convention, if that makes any sense, like for the style of convention, it's probably the largest. It can't touch Wizard World, obviously, because that one's gigantic, but that's geared towards being a gigantic one. I mean, they call it Wizard World Comic Con because it's pretty damn big.
I think San Diego's trying to trademark Comic Con.
I wouldn't blame them. I assumed that it was, honestly. I assumed that it was.
Yeah, they are. I think they're trying to trademark it now. They're trying to trademark Comic Con.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I would. If I were in their position, I probably would be considering the same thing.
Well, I mean, because they have A-list actors and everything come there
to
actually promote their movies and
stuff.
They do,
so. And it's a huge event, and I mean, you could see that saturation of that phrase raising confusion, because, it is very much strictly a San Diego thing, unless I'm mistaken.
No, that is literally the only thing.
Yeah, but yeah, Extra Life, I'm excited. November is going to be the actual event. I think November... somewhere around the beginning or the middle of the month. I can't remember the exact date, but for those who are watching and would like to take a look or would like to hear more or I guess read more, extralife.org I believe is the website, and go check that shit out. It's awesome.
It is awesome.
24 hours of gaming, and you raise money for kiddies. What's not to like?
Absolutely. On the topic of games.
Yes.
What game are you currently playing, if any? That you are exclusively
very
playing.
second, at this exact moment.
Not at this exact moment. What have you been playing recently?
I'm playing the game of a shitty 26-year-old man-child who plays video games.
I play that same game.
That's my life. I know that we were talking at one point online while I was playing Warframe. That's been kind of a surprise for me. I had played it a couple years back, I think in 2013, more or less when it first launched. And it was pretty good. The interface was just downright god-awful, and the controls were weird, and the missions were kind of limited in scope and variety. It felt like a bit of a grind after a while. And I've started, just kind of randomly picked it back up with at first with a couple of friends, but a few of them have dropped off, so now it's like, well, screw it, I'm just going to play it by myself because it's fucking great. And it's, the interface is much improved. The controls are about the same, but it's very much the kind of game that probably isn't meant for a keyboard. It definitely works well on the controller, as far as I've heard.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, you've played a little bit of it, right?
I played a little bit of it. I didn't play it on PC. Okay. I saw Dave playing it at the
yes.
and I was kind of intrigued by it then. So
yeah.
I know that PS4 has it.
Yes.
And PS4 is we bought a PS4, very limited with the amount of selection you have right now for games.
Yeah.
And most of the games that I can play is already on PC, and I already own them. So
Bloodborne.
Yeah, I do want to play Bloodborne. I haven't got around to it yet.
Yeah.
Now, I did download Warframe because it's free.
Yeah.
So it's free through PS4 as well.
Yes.
Very fun. It's actually really fun. And then halfway through, I was like, this feels like a grindy game, and I've heard that Destiny is pretty grindy. So
yeah.
And then I contacted my friend Eric, and I was like, "Let me see your Destiny game."
Yeah.
So and then now, I have been playing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a fair point. And the grindiness of it is very real. and this is one thing I've struggled with because I tend to not really enjoy grindy games. Justin knows I'm not a big fan of MMOs in general.
No.
I mean, I enjoy Diablo, and in some
really
regards,
gotta grind in that game.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. If you wanna like play it constantly, then yeah, pretty much is a grind. And yeah, I guess that's the thing. The grindiness has to be done like from my snobby perspective, has to be done right. I don't know if there's really a right or wrong way to do it, but a way that appeals to me. And I don't know what that way is, but yeah, the Diablo series 1 and 2, of course, and 3. I do enjoy 3. Haters gonna hate.
Haters are gonna hate.
Haters gonna hate. I do enjoy 3, but yeah, the grindiness of Warframe, I do enjoy a lot of aspects about just the general gameplay. It feels, I think part of the reason why I like Warframe so much is that while I'm playing it, for those who don't know, you're like a space ninja with swords and guns and shit. You pretty much feel and look like a total badass when you're doing it. So more than anything, like, the appeal to me is just like the sensation of like running along the wall, jumping off it, like doing this cool spinny attack, landing a dude, and then turning around, firing a shotgun at another dude. It's just like, you just feel like such a badass when you pull off these ridiculous maneuvers. And it gets really difficult very quickly, as I've learned. But that challenge ups the ante as well. And the local, well, actually I don't know about local, but the co-op mode, the co-op multiplayer, does add some niceness there. So I don't know. I've found that the grind isn't as much of a pain as I remember it being. So maybe after another couple hours into it, maybe I'll start to change my tune. But for now, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah. No, because I'm playing Destiny right now until GTA 5 comes out next week. So preload today, by the way, if anyone wants to know. If you play PC,
think it's gonna come out?
Absolutely, because there's a 60 gigabyte preload on Steam right now. So if anyone wants to start that, go ahead. But until that comes out, I've been playing Destiny. I got to the level cap a couple days ago. So I've kind of got a general synopsis of the game. I've played the multiplayer. I've played pretty much every aspect except for the raids. I haven't done any raids.
Okay.
But I imagine that's just like a fire team normal thing that I've been doing anyways. It's fun. It is a great gameplay. It reminds me exactly of Halo, obviously, because Bungie. Yeah. It's incredibly fun. The story is absolute shit. I mean, it is just terrible, god awful. I mean, it's cool. I wish they would tell me like, part of the scenes in the game, like, you're talking to a person and he's like, I wish I could tell you about the Traveler, which is this giant globe.
Okay.
And he's like, I wish I could tell you about it. And there's so many things I could tell you. But then he never tells you anything. Like, and he's like, well, go do this. And it's like, okay, so you give me no information whatsoever. Like, what the hell am I doing?
Such a tease.
Yeah, it is very much tease. The whole game is like that. And then, like, you meet this other person and she's like, well, I could tell you about where I'm from, but I don't want to. And it's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, just give me information. So then I went to play multiplayer. I hit level cap. I started playing some multiplayer. That is where it's at right now.
Nice, yeah.
The multiplayer is phenomenal. And I like it because you use your weapons that you collect through the actual game.
Nice.
So, like
what you collect in single player?
Yeah, what you collect in single player, which is honestly just multiplayer because it's always online. If you don't have an internet connection, you literally cannot play Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, the game's fun. Multiplayer is fun. Story is shit. 7 out of 10 would play again.
Nice. What better type of recommendation could someone give?
Right. Other than that, I'm playing. I'm trying to finish up getting all the trophies in Persona. Persona 4 Golden.
Persona 4, yeah.
And then I've been playing. What is this game called? It's a skating game, and I cannot. Ollie Ollie. I've been playing Ollie Ollie and Ollie Ollie 2. Incredibly fun. Very tedious. Very tedious. It's like 2D Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And it is incredibly difficult.
Nice. I've heard about Ollie Ollie, and when you said skate game, at first I was gonna get excited. I thought you were talking about Skate, that super derpy skateboarding game
that everyone made glitch videos with.
Oh my god, I love that so much. It's so ridiculous. Yeah, the kind of skateboarding game where you'll do a sweet trick, and then you'll like pick up the skateboard up in your hands, and then you'll like fall through the level, but the skateboard stays still. So then you rubber band and like shoot through the sky.
Yes.
It's the derpiest thing, and I think it's by design. It must be like on purpose, because like all the skate games are like that.
Yeah, they have to use the same engine that they've never corrected. Like they've never debugged anything. Like everything they found, they're just like, oh fuck it, just leave it in. It's now a feature.
It's not a bug, it's a feature. That's the
Goat
golden
Simulator.
strategy that Goat Simulator went.
Yes.
They fixed all the bugs that broke the game, that crashed the game. But if it, I guess that, yeah, crash the game, not break the game, because those are two very different things. And left in all the other bugs and glitches because it's not a bug, it's a feature. It's a mantra, you just gotta keep repeating it.
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
So anything else you playing? You just playing Warframe right now?
I mean, I have a list of multiplayer games that are my standards. I'm a big fan of Payday 2. That's probably my, if I had to pick like one multiplayer game, that's probably my multiplayer game.
Right.
Is Payday 2. Payday 1 is good, don't get me wrong, but 2 is just where it's at. It's just so fucking good. Oh, I love it.
Now I know I have a game that I go back to, like say you're bored out of your mind.
Yeah.
Right. You always have that one game that you go back to just because you know it's just
Yeah.
going to give you just an odd excitement.
Uh-huh.
My game right now, and I know it's going to be like this until GTA 5. GTA 5 is going to probably take it over.
You're gonna say GTA 4?
It is not GTA 4.
Just Cause?
Huh?
Is it Just Cause?
It was Just Cause, and then Kerbal Space Program has now absolutely annihilated Just Cause in my Ultimate
God.
Sandbox game. I oddly enjoy making space planes and
Yeah.
just flying them around.
Absolutely.
I have no idea why. I like taking off and landing.
Yeah.
I never leave the fucking planet. I literally just stay in the planet, or I go into orbit and I'm like, all
Oh,
right,
shit, now what?
time to make a new space
Yep.
shot, or time to make a new space plane. But yeah, that's like my sandbox game right now.
That's awesome.
And I know once GTA 5 hits, my life will be over.
Then rest in peace, in peace.
Yes.
He was never heard from again. Part of the reason why I laughed so much when you mentioned Kerbal Space Program, because at the first Extra Life,
yeah.
that game, you might say that it really took off.
It did. At the time, it was only me and Dave that had played Kerbal Space Program.
Yes.
He was the one who actually... Damn, he knows a lot of shit
does.
before it comes out. I'm just thinking about this.
We gotta get him on the show.
We do need to get him on the show. Dave was like, well, you should play Kerbal Space Program. I was like, I've never heard of this. He's
Yeah.
like, you make spaceships and you fly these people into space.
What more do you
And
need?
at the time, there was like 8 rocket parts.
Yeah.
You know, like there was literally nothing. Everything rubber banded like crazy.
Yep.
So like if you got to a certain speed, it would just like everything would just start falling apart.
Yep.
It was incredibly difficult to get anything in
Uh-huh.
upper atmosphere. I mean, nobody knew how to get anything into orbit.
Yeah.
Like you literally just shot up and then you came back down.
Yep. That's how it works in real life.
But
too,
yeah,
right?
that first land, everyone had it
Yeah.
downloaded and everybody was playing Kerbal Space Program.
And you wouldn't think Kerbal Space Program would be a LAN party game. Somehow it became a thing. I got nothing. But it was one of the big surprises of the night. And it seems like with our LAN parties, Extra Life or not, there does seem to be a nexus where
There does.
we'll focus. We'll like accidentally upon. We will accidentally one game. For like the majority of the LAN, and we'll never plan it. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's planned.
No, it's never planned. It's never planned. I'm trying to think of like the past. Okay, so for the first year, obviously, it was Kerbal Space Program. I'm trying to think of the second year. What did we play? We probably played
Guns of Icarus.
Was it Guns of Icarus in the
It
second
was.
one?
That wasn't the second one, but that's the one that pops in my mind of like, hey, Guns of Icarus is on
I
sale.
want to say like The Hidden.
And that was a big one.
The Hidden was big. Oh, what else did we play? Man, I know.
Just Cause 2.
Just Cause 2, we recently did that. Yeah,
That was
Just
good.
Cause 2 online was absolutely amazing. Hawken, we tried this
Yeah.
last one. We actually
Fucking-
did pretty well this
we
last
did.
time because we sprawled over a few
Mhm.
games. We played Hawken. We played. I know Dave was playing Warframe majority
Yeah.
of the time.
It still is.
So we played Hawken. Warcraft 3 was oddly
Yeah, that's right.
incredibly fun at the end of
Yeah.
the night. Like, did you play Warcraft 3?
I
with
did
us?
not, and honestly, I kind of regret it. I'm thinking like, man, I gotta get that shit installed because I gotta join in on that next time because that did.
That
sound like a
was
lot of fun.
incredibly fun. We basically we only played AI, and the
Yeah.
AI are incredibly difficult on the max setting. So I guess they're
Yeah.
on insane
Mhm.
difficulty, and they are insane. So they build incredibly fast. Obviously, nothing that we can even keep up with.
Yep.
They're masters of resource management.
Yes.
And what we would do is we would just build up defenses and help each other out.
Yep.
So it'd be like 6 of us versus like 4 AI, which I think is the maximum
Yes.
we could take. We could take 4 AI, and we would just try to defend them off and attack when they were like retreating.
Yep.
It worked out. We tried against 5 AI, immediately decimated.
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
we didn't even have a chance.
Man, between that and I know the previous LAN, which was Extra Life, we did probably about 14 hours worth of motherfucking Robocraft of all things.
Robocraft,
Of
yeah.
all things.
That was the hit
Oh,
last
man.
Extra Life, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because Eric
the majority
was playing it.
my time on Steam I think says mine says like 9 hours.
Okay.
I played of Robocraft.
Uh-huh.
I know that Eric Land was like, my Steam says I played 12 hours.
Mine was 14 by the end of the
Oh
night.
my god.
Because I am a fucking hopeless piece of shit.
Jesus.
Yeah, in fact, I took a screenshot afterwards. I was like, check that shit out, because
I
I
know-
only installed the game that day.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know that a lot of people continued playing because I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't technically continue playing after that because I obviously was going back to like MMOs and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So they suck every life out of you. But I know that Eric Heel continued playing.
Yep.
Dave continued playing. Dave
Yep.
was showing me this odd fucking ship that he had, which
Yeah.
was like a weird triangle blimp, and he was like, "Yeah, you just sit up in the air and you snipe people." I was like,
Yep.
"Okay."
Yeah, it's a thing.
He's like, "You just put a bunch of armor plating on the
Yep.
bottom, and they
and
can't
you're
shoot
good.
through it."
And you're good, yeah.
Robocraft is very awesome.
It is.
It is.
It is.
It's
I love
very
that game.
cool to see people's designs.
There are some really creative and really like odd and hilarious designs that people have made, especially in the lower levels, because you can get a little freaky. When the later levels, people start getting a little bit more serious. You have to be more, function over form. But yeah, the early levels, I have seen some things that, like, I had to try to adjust myself to make sure that I wasn't just complete because if I spend the whole time laughing my ass off, I'm not gonna get anything done. I'm just gonna get my ass kicked. So there were times where I had to not take efforts to not look at their ship because it was just too fucking funny. But yeah, Robocraft, and I remember there was one land when you talking about when you mentioned him about sucking the essence out of things. I remember there was one land where I show up like an hour late and two people are playing WoW.
Oh yeah, that
And-
was me and Eric or me
Yeah.
and Brad.
Yeah, and then and there's and I know that a bunch of you guys
Yeah, okay.
used to play WoW back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you remember this, because a bunch of you guys used to play WoW back in the day. Like that was your
And
jam, right?
everyone.
And little bit I was watching, and people over at Justin's PC, they look at it and be like, "Hey man, you playing WoW?" Yeah, man, that's pretty good.
All
That's
right.
pretty, maybe I'll just reinstall it and play it for an hour, only an hour or two. I'm just gonna go install it real quick, and then 8 hours later, everyone was like,
was
"Hey man,
playing
you
WoW."
playing WoW? Ah, jeez, man, I haven't played that. Yeah, I'm gonna reinstall." And before I just looked around and I'm just over here playing Dark Souls. I'm like, "Oh my god, everyone is WoW."
Everyone was playing WoW.
And it was still an awesome night, but that was just you just watched it spread like a disease.
It
and
was.
awesome.
It was a
disease.
disease.
Oh man,
WoW takes lives.
it does. It does. Warn your children. Hide your kids. Hide your wife. They be wowing everybody. For those who don't know, if you keep seeing fluffy poofs, my dog is here. He's sitting on my lap.
Hello.
He's very squiggly.
Oh, man.
He's very squiggly.
He does not like to be held.
His name is Dexter. He likes being held, but not he likes it when it's
not Simba.
Yeah, he
Over
doesn't
the
like
edge.
being Simba. Oh, no. So yeah, that is he'll be our mascot or something. I don't know.
I say we cover one more topic.
Let's do it. Force.
Let's see. How about I picked the last few. Why don't you look at this list and you tell me the
Okay.
topic that you want to go over? The ones with the lines, obviously, we went over.
Right, yeah, of course. We've been talking about lots of happy-go-lucky, fond memories and whatnot. Let's talk about some disappointing games that just ruined us.
Disappointing games.
Disappointing
Ooh,
games.
let me think for a second. You go ahead if you know one.
Well, I know that, and I'll admit, this is one game that came to mind because when I was suggesting ideas to you about disappointing game endings, because this was one game that came to mind when I saw the disappointing games label, where the game itself, the journey leading, probably through the first 3/4 of the game. So the majority of the game is so fucking cool. It was one of the games, as I'm playing it, I was thinking to myself, I can't remember the last time I was this engaged. I felt this engaged by a single-player story-driven game. The game is Indigo Prophecy.
Oh.
And for those who don't know, who haven't played it, the final act of the game can only be described as a clusterfuck. And the reason behind that is because one of my buddies was actually telling me the game was originally intended to be an episodic model, where they would just develop episode by episode. And they figured out so far in the development cycle that, oh man, we don't have the money for that, so we can only do one game. Oh man, let's just cram it all. So by that point, they had all this content developed for the multiple episodes. So they squished all the developed content into a single game, which works pretty well. But then they had to somehow wrap it all up. And I'll avoid spoilers just because I do think the game itself, like I said, the journey was so good, but the destination, the ending was supremely disappointing. It just left a really bad taste in my mouth. And it felt like, not so much rushed, but they just kind of had all these ideas, and they just had to jam them all in at the end. So the game itself wasn't disappointing, but the final act was so unsatisfying. It really left me hankering for like a better resolution. But man, those the first 3/4 of the game were stupendous. So I would recommend people still play it, but just be warned, the ending will just not live up to your expectations. What can you do? How about you? What's one that comes to mind?
Alright, so I made a little list here.
No.
Alright, so Amnesia, not the Dark Descent, but A Machine for Pigs.
Oh yeah.
Was like it wasn't an expansion, it was the second game.
Yeah.
Ended up not being scary. Not even remotely.
Not even that. Sucks.
I mean, there was one part where there was like a werewolf or something chasing you, but that was literally the only part where you were ever being chased the entire game. It was really upsetting. Because the first game, you spend the entire time literally fearing for your life because you're hiding behind these doors, and these zombie monster things come up and start banging on the door. They try to get through to you. They're avidly looking around. You had the insanity. Where like you would lose your sanity and you would start hallucinating and hearing sounds. That was such an awesome part. Not in the second game. They literally just cut that out. I don't know what happened. I guess maybe they're under budget or something, but. They literally made a game that was only a puzzle. It kind of felt like I was playing Myst, but like a terrible Myst game.
Oh, it sucks.
And it was nothing that was frightening. It was such an odd game.
That's unfortunate. Now, was it the same studio that developed it, or did they make...
I don't really know. I never really thought of it.
For
the power of the internet, I can search.
Each series of tubes. At some point, I had heard... that, and I don't know, maybe I'm just misremembering, but I seem to recall hearing that Machine for Pigs was developed by a different studio, or maybe published by a different studio, and that the original guys who did the first Amnesia, was it Outlast? No, I don't think they did Outlast, but they did another game that was...
Now, I have heard Outlast is pretty good.
I've heard nothing but awesome things. I've heard.
I think that's going to be the next game that me and Amanda play on a stream is Outlast.
Yeah, you totally should.
Because we seem to be liking the Fury games because we really loved Amnesia. Amnesia was awesome, but A Machine for Pigs not so much.
Not spooky, too unspooky for you.
Yeah, we'll probably play Fatal Frame too.
Oh man, Fatal Frame!
Go a little back and play some Fatal Frame.
Do you have like the original copy, or were you thinking about emulating?
I was thinking about emulating the Fatal Frame.
Because
I do not have the original copy, and I remember back in the day. I want to say it was the first Xbox. Mm-hmm. That I got a demo for it, and it was the freakiest demo that I've ever had.
Oh my god. Well, and I know, those games are relatively hard to come by. I know, not to derail you too bad.
No,
maybe I'll derail you a little.
No, go
but
ahead.
I know that for the Wii U, there is a Fatal Frame game that's I think out in Japan right now, and they recently announced that they're bringing that over. And people are like, because I mean, man, with the Wii U,
that actually would be perfect because.
Oh man, so excited.
Now, does the touchpad for the Wii U, does it have like I want to say like a gyroscope in it?
Yes.
Obviously, it has a gyroscope.
Yep.
So like you could essentially pick it up.
Yep.
And it could be your camera.
And it has a front-facing camera too.
That would be awesome. That would be so cool.
But
man, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And see, look at this. Now you're giving me more reasons why I should have bought a Wii U instead of a PS4.
Good.
But I'm gonna expect Persona 5 and Kingdom Hearts 3 to make up for all of this.
That's very
all of my sorrows.
Those are gonna be awesome. But yeah, were you able to find anything? Because I don't know if it's something I'm just misremembering or otherwise.
Oddly, I can't connect to the internet.
It's because I shut off the internet remotely with my...
Hold on, let me just reconnect here.
But yeah, like I said, I don't know why I remember that. While that's happening, I know that you said you had another kind of a short list to go.
Elder Scrolls Online. Absolutely disappointed with.
Oh, really? That's unfortunate.
Okay, so this was during my search for an MMO. I played the demo. I played the beta test, I should have said.
Yeah.
For Elder Scrolls. So I played the first one, and me and my friend Pat were at my house playing. Absolutely cool. I thought it was it had a really good idea. It played just like Skyrim to a degree. Had a lot of MMO aspects.
Cool.
The second beta came out, and me and a couple more people got to play. So me and Brad were playing as well. And that's when we started noticing the issues. Because in the first one, I didn't get to group with anybody.
Yeah.
Second one, I got to group with people, and that's when we started noticing the bugs. And the bugs that never got fixed. Such as, I hated it when I was looking at someone, and, like, they would be attacking something, but I couldn't see it. And they're like, hey, will you help me? And I'm like, I can't, man. I don't really know what the fuck you're attacking.
Exactly, yeah.
And he's like, help me kill this guy. And I'm like, I can't. I don't see this guy.
Yeah.
And even if we were in the same group, me and Brad were in the same group, I could not see the stuff. If he was a quest ahead of me, I could not see the stuff that he was fighting. random generated monsters on the ground. Oh my god.
Man, that's harsh. Those are like...
It was really bad, and I think Brad set a record for how many bugs they had to have hated him by the time, because he was then, after that, he was like critiquing everything. He was like, the inventory, I hit the inventory button and it didn't pop up, so, and he was like, I submitted a ticket for that. You know, I was like, oh my god.
I love Brad to death, but I can totally see him doing this. Just like, I'm just gonna flood their inbox with bug reports. But, and yeah, I had heard similarly disappointing things about Elder Scrolls. I had not heard about the depth to which those bugs ran, though, because, my god, that's like, you know, glitch graphics or, like, things spawning. That's one thing, but, like, man, like you mentioned, if somebody is not in the same quest as you are, and you just can't see the shit that they're fighting, that's kind of a deal breaker.
It's upsetting. It is. Another thing is like they were really pushing these cluster servers, like this new technology of cluster servers, and it just didn't work out. Because what happened is people, you know, obviously are trying to merge into this. You know, you're trying to get like this giant raid together. You're trying to get this group together, which is a pretty good video to watch. Is the Angry Joe Show has a good description on, like, he got like a bunch of his people together and they were all on horses. And they just absolutely annihilated the server. Like, they couldn't fit more than 40 people into a zone.
That's
you know,
awesome.
And that's because of this like cluster mechanic that these servers have. But yeah, it was just upsetting because there hasn't been such a good MMO in a long time.
Yeah.
Everyone, WoW was a blessing and a curse because it was a blessing because it was a great MMO. It was absolutely awesome, very good, but it's a curse because everyone wants to be Warcraft. You know,
next
and
WoW.
they want to be the next WoW, and they're not thinking out of the box. Like, give me a Star Wars Galaxies, because that game had very good potential.
It did.
And then LucasArts fucked it up, but, you know, like, it had really good potential. I mean, you had a skill tree that was literally unmatched by no other game so far, because, like... Nice. You had so many different paths you could take. Like, you could be like a hunter, you could be like a sniper, but then you had like a specialization with each class. Oh, man, that game was so good. Like, it was absolutely good, but LucasArts decided that they wanted to follow the WoW scheme because, you know, WoW was getting all these subscribers.
That's how it works, right?
And, it never worked out for them.
Sadness.
The last game I have on the list is Warlords of Draenor, which is the newest expansion to WoW.
Oh, okay. I was like, that
incredibly
sounds familiar.
Incredibly pumped about it. They just didn't. They didn't come through with what
Not feeling it?
No, I think the overall, like, what I want from that game is never going to happen.
Oh yeah. And
I go back to it just for kind of the stuff that I still do enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy PvP to a degree. I don't like the fact that everything has to have a comp. You know, like you don't like 3v3, 5v5s and stuff like that. You know, it's all. Ghost comp, God comp, all these, you know, different stupid ass names. Like, I just want to be able to match up with somebody and play. I don't want to be at a disadvantage because me and him are some class compared to another class, and it's really annoying in that respect.
Understandable.
And raids are great. I'm just not into the raiding scene anymore. I was in the raiding scene from, you know, Vanilla WoW up until Wrath of the Lich King, and that's kind of where I cut off at. But yeah, Warlords of Draenor was upsetting for me because I just feel like there's nothing to do. You know, I just there's nothing that really entices me with the game anymore, other than a few things that make me come back here and then. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, put that into perspective. I mean, WoW came out 10 plus years ago.
It did. I think 2004. Whew, man. So 2003 November, I want to say.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
Somewhere around there. So yeah, 10 plus years.
I did post a. Some guy said in the chat, have I ever tried Terra? No, I've never tried it, but I'm definitely up for any suggestions.
I have a couple buddies that actually play Terra, so that's, I'll have to ask them about that at some point, like how it's changed over time, because it's been out, not super long, but it's built up some community to it, so it's definitely got some heft. I'm not a very good source for it because I'm not a big MMO guy, but, yeah, I mean, that might be something to consider, see if there's, like, a 30-day trial period or something like that, because with the number of friends that like come to mind that I know play that game, that's certainly encouraging. Same goes for Guild Wars 2. I know a lot of friends that still play that game.
I do like Guild Wars 2. I have one complaint about Guild Wars 2, which is they didn't do the skills right. They should have what WoW did right in vanilla and up through like Wrath of the Lich King and stuff is that you have something to work towards.
Yeah.
So like like a level 8 you get an ability, level 12 you get an ability, you know, and you get like ranks up of abilities and stuff like that. Literally, once you get to like level 20 in Guild Wars, you only work towards this talent tree.
Yeah.
Like you have no other abilities to obtain, and you can work. Obviously, you can get like another weapon and have new abilities, but it's like
you've kind of reached the peak.
Yeah, you reach the peak. Like you only have like a certain skill set that you have, and you reach it pretty early on.
Yes, that's I know one of the.
So and then it just becomes a supreme grind to get to the max level.
Yeah, that's a fair criticism as well, definitely.
Other than that, Guild Wars 2 is absolutely awesome. I really like the fact that, like, I don't know, there's just some cool aspects of the game. Like, there'll be people that are like a commander or something. Like, they've done really well in like dungeons and stuff. They'll have like this giant star above their head, and you can follow them on the map and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool.
Yep.
It's a really good learning like experience. Like they'll be out there like telling you like which monsters to go to and stuff like that. So I also had a really cool. They were the first people to actually do a level D scale. So like if you had like a person that you wanted to play with, you could go to that zone and it would reduce your level to their level.
That's kind of cool. Actually, I kind of like that.
That was very cool.
Yeah. So doing some things right. That's maybe eventually through all these MMO developers, like somebody will take notes of all these things and make like the golden standard, like the one MMO to rule them all. But a girl can dream.
So Amnesia.
Uh-huh.
It was originally developed by Frictional Games.
Okay.
They published the second one, but it was actually developed by a group called the Chinese Room, which I've never
interesting.
heard of.
I've never heard of them either.
And so that probably is why
so that might be part of it. Yeah.
It was not as good.
What can you do? And I'm sure there was a lot of hype for A Machine for Pigs, and I don't know. I've heard mostly mixed things. Not a lot of good things, not a lot of like awful things, but lots of people that were just kind of not really digging it. But the first game did really set the bar pretty damn high, and a lot of people were saying like, "Oh man, it's the new Eternal Darkness with that whole Sandy thing." So love that shit. But
Eternal Darkness. I've never played Eternal Darkness.
Oh man, I love that shit.
Is it good?
It's. Oh, I don't know if it's my favorite horror game, but it's definitely up there. I'm gonna go ahead and stake my claim. It is my favorite horror game. I'm just gonna put it out there and say it. It's of course a lot of people that know of Eternal Darkness know that it's criminally underrated and did a lot of things. A lot of things not so great. Like combat wasn't so great. Some parts of the magic system was a little bit weird, but like as far as a game that's really well written. Has a really solid story that is really engrossing and really comprehensive. It covers a lot of different characters in very, very different environments. Just a really well-made game with some really cool mechanics, and of course that sanity meter. I will always remember where I was the first time I walked into a room, my character's head fell off, I picked up my own head, and my head in my hands, or like floating above the screen at least, started reciting Shakespeare. So that is
awesome.
That was a defining moment in
awesome.
my gaming life. So
wow.
And of course the bathtub scene. Everyone who's played the game knows there's the bathtub scene. I have goosebumps thinking about that shit.
I'm gonna have to YouTube the bathtub scene now.
Don't, because it will ruin you. But yeah, I love that game. I love that game so goddamn much.
Other than that, I think we should just probably cut it up there. I don't think anyone wants to watch past an hour.
No, I think we actually covered. How many hyphens do we have? I see 5 hyphens.
5.
That's pretty damn good. Yeah.
I think we did well.
I think so too. We've got a nice menu of things remaining for the next time.
We do. So about 2 weeks, I say, we'll be back here and we'll be doing another show.
Yep.
Until then, I'll be definitely putting up some videos on the channel.
Yes.
Just as far as me playing some random stuff.
That's what we like to hear.
So
it's regular content. That's what it's all about.
That is what it's all about. So. Thanks for those who chilled and hung out with us. It was very good.
That's awesome. I was actually convinced we would have we would just be talking amongst ourselves. We would have no viewers, but hey, we got some people.
Yeah, we got a
fantastic.
few people.
That's what I like to see. I see we have 4 viewers right now. That's like 2 more than I usually get when I stream, like on my personal channel.
That.
So we're already like 100% better than my own bullshit. So look at that progress. Good stuff. Yeah. Any parting thoughts?
Can't wait till next time. This is awesome.
Good stuff.
I enjoy it.
All right. See you guys in 2 weeks ish.
Yes.
All right. Let's go and kill it. Kill it dead.